students, is everything okay with you? Well, I'm just great today, thank you. What have you been doing lately? Well, me, I've been reading this book, To Kill a Mockingbird, by Harper Lee, and I've been making home movies too, of course. Now you can open your book on page 6.
On page 124, there is a grammar reference in which we are going to study the present perfect continuous. But before you turn there, I'd like you to turn to page 5 first. And this is it, page 5. There are many examples of sentences in the present perfect continuous here in this conversation. Can you find them? And what is the formula for the present perfect continuous? The present perfect continuous consists of 3 verbs. First, there is the present of the verb to have. You can use have or has. In the affirmative sentence, have can be contracted as apostrophe VE, and has can be contracted as apostrophe S. Every time you see this word here, perfect, indicating a tense, it's because there is a verb in the past participle. In this case, we have been, which is the participle of the verb to be. And now you have the word continuous. And this word indicates there is a verb in the gerund with ing. If you have your book, I'd like you please to underline all the examples of sentences in the present perfect continuous you have in your book. In case you don't have your book, please write down on your notebook example sentences about this grammar point, okay? Please pause the video and do the task. How many examples could you find? Let's check together. And here's the first example. It's a question. What have you been doing lately? What is the second example? Here, I've been getting in shape. And the third example comes just after it. I've been running every day after work. Here's the next. How long have you been doing that? Oh, so that's why you haven't been returning my phone calls. What have you been doing? And here's one more. Actually, I've been taking photos for my blog. And finally, there's the last sentence. I've been exercising too. 9 sentences in the present perfect continuous. Please focus now your attention on some examples of sentences in the present perfect continuous in the affirmative form. Look at this sentence. I've been getting in shape. Like I said, we have 3 verbs that form the present perfect continuous. Have, been, and a verb with ing, in this case, getting. Now let's focus on the examples of sentences in the negative form. In the negative form, you just have to add not to have or has, and you can have the contraction haven't or hasn't. Oh, so that's why you haven't been returning my phone calls. Again, the sentence is in the present perfect continuous, and we have 3 verbs, 1, 2, 3. Now, as you can notice, when the sentence is in the interrogative form, that is, when we have a question, you have to invert the position of words. First comes the verb have or has, and then comes the subject, in this case, you. Look, how long have you been doing that? You is the subject, and it comes after the verb have. Well done! You have just learned that the present perfect continuous consists of 3 verbs. And now you're finally ready to turn to page 124. Good luck! And here we are. It's page 124, Grammar, Unit 1, the present perfect continuous, since and for. We use the present perfect continuous to talk about something that happens repeatedly or continuously from a time in the past until now. For example, How long have you been studying? Continuously up to now. That is, up to this moment. He has been talking on the phone for an hour. Continuously for the past hour. Have you been taking tennis lessons for very long? Repeatedly up to now. Notice the difference between the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. We use the present perfect to talk about experiences. We use the present perfect continuous to emphasize that something happened continuously or repeatedly. For example, I've watched that movie 3 times. I've been watching this movie for the past hour. So you started watching the movie and you continued watching it up to now, continuously. That is different from the first sentence because here you have watched the movie 3 times. It means you have finished doing this. And here you are still doing this. Somebody has used my guitar at least one time. Somebody has been using my guitar repeatedly. Here you know somebody has used your guitar. That is, the action is finished. But here somebody has started using your guitar and this person has been using it many times. We form the present perfect continuous with have or has plus been plus present participle in the ing form. These are examples of statements. For example, I have been reading. You've been reading. We have not been reading. They haven't been reading. He has been reading. She has been reading. It has not been reading. It hasn't been reading. With he, she, and it, you can use has or the contraction apostrophe s. We often use a present perfect continuous with since plus a date or time and for plus a period of time. For example, I have been running marathons since 2008. It's wrong to say I have been running marathons for 2008. I have been collecting stamps for 2 years. It's wrong to say I have been collecting stamps since 2 years. Now practice, students. Number 1. Rewrite the questions with how long and the present perfect continuous. For example, when did you start doing yoga? You see, this question is in the simple past. I have used here did. Now you're going to rewrite the questions using the present perfect continuous. For example, how long have you been doing yoga? You have changed did to have, and instead of using start doing, you have used been doing. Now answer numbers 2, 3, and 4. Have you finished? Let's check. Number 2. Now have to answer number 2. Complete the sentences with since or for. For example, number 1. She's been playing the guitar since she was a child. Now answer numbers 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Let's check. Number 2. I can't believe it. We've been talking on the phone for more than an hour. Number 3. Where have you been? I've been waiting for you since noon. Number 4. He's been playing the same song for the last hour. I'm getting tired of it. Do you have any questions, students? If, by any chance, you don't understand this grammar reference, please send me your questions at the end of this video.